I just want to talk about some things that, these are just a few. That one of my heroes, anyway, and of course you understand, number one hero is Yeshua Messiah. But the apostles were heroes of mine. And one of them I want to talk about for just a little bit is Paul. And I want to talk about some of the sufferings and trials and tribulations and sorrows and pains that he went through. And people want to super spiritualize suffering. But, and by that I mean they want to make it somewhere out there that, I suffer in the spirit when I get down on my knees and I pray, and I'm praying for the lost, and I feel their pain in my spirit. And well, okay, I can go along with that there is a form or of suffering in that regard. Okay. But let's talk about some of the sufferings that Paul endured. And we could talk about the sufferings of Yeshua too, but the ones that I want to bring out in this video are from Paul mainly. But over there in 2 Corinthians, once again, around verse 8, he talks about how he said we were afflicted. We're afflicted on in every way or from every side. That means it was coming on us from every direction. But we were not crushed. We was afflicted, but we weren't crushed. Afflicted is pressure. You ever felt pressures coming in on you from every side? Yeah, me too. And you're gonna think from this video that, well, everybody deals with these things. That is correct. I've said that in other videos. We all, whether you're saved or unsaved, we all deal with suffering, sorrows, pain. All of us, everybody. But we as believers need to learn that these things are allowed or directly brought on us by our Father for good reasons. We discussed that in the last video, so you might want to go back and watch that one. But he goes on and he says we're perplexed. Perplexed, but not in despair, he says. Perplexed means we were at our wits' end. We were despondent. We were in low spirits. I mean, not really seeing a way out of the suffering. That's what Paul was saying. Essentially, Paul is saying it's hard. It's very hard, but there's no heartache that can cause us to defect. See, that's one of the benefits of understanding that suffering is a benefit. Is knowing that it cannot crush you, it cannot defeat you, and it should not cause you to defect. He said we're persecuted. Now there's one. Persecuted. So if you ever thought that sufferings were just spiritual things, right here this word's persecuted. This verb here in 2 Corinthians 4, I believe, around verse 9, I think we're down there by now. But persecuted It means, it's the verb that would be used in hunting an animal for the purpose of killing it. Paul said, we're hunted. You know, just like Jesus was hunted. That's the reason he kept telling everybody, don't tell anybody what just happened. You know, it got to the point where he had to stay out in the countryside, away from the towns and the cities and the villages, just so he could preach the gospel. Hunted down like an animal for the purpose of killing it. But not forsaken, he says. Not deserted. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Remember that? He says, struck down, but not destroyed. That word, struck down, it means like slammed to the ground, thrown down with force, struck down. These are physical things that Paul was enduring. These were trials, sufferings. Paul was one battered apostle, but it never ever broke him. We all need to remember this, that triumph is not freedom from pain or escaping adversity. It's surviving it. Most people would, thinking about this, most people would look at Paul and the things that he went through, and they'd say, well, God must not be pleased with you because look at all the sufferings. I mean, you must be in deep sin. Got to be. You know, because in that day, I'm not saying that goes on today, that people wouldn't believe this way today. But in that day, if everything was going well with you, and I mean money was coming in, you was wealthy and prosperous, you had prosperity working on your behalf, and everybody just believed that the blessing of the Lord was on you. That's how they gauged if you were blessed. I don't know why nobody ever read Matthew 5. Blessed are the poor in spirit, bankrupt. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed, blessed, blessed. The poor have the gospel preached to them. They are blessed. But anyway, they didn't feel no different in that day than they do now. That's what people think now. I'm going to have to hush now. Take it all with a grain of salt.